सुबह कभी तो आएगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी। इन काली सदियों के सर से जब रात का आंचल ढकेगा, जब दुख के बादल पिघलेंगे, जब सुख का सागर छलकेगा, जब अंबर झूम के नाचेगा, जब धरती नगमे गाएगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी।
Greetings, I am Uday Bhaskar, but I am not here as the director of the Society for Policy Studies. I am here today as a lover. Now that may sound a bit odd, but as a lover, I join a vast multitude which is otherwise known as the Sahir Ludhianvi Fan Club. Those of us who over the decades have fallen in love with Sahir Saab, his poetry and his lyrics. It is his centenary, and we thought it would be appropriate to present a garland of tributes. My own recall and introduction, as it were, to Sahir Saab was through Hindi film. The first film that I saw without knowing that it had any connection with Sahir Saab was Hum Dono, a film made in the early 60s. It had the debonair Devanand as a young Indian Army officer. I saw it as a young cadet, as a young officer, as I was preparing to join the Indian Fauj. And what remained with me were the songs, as I'm sure they did for thousands of my peer group. There is one particularly lilting song, Abhi Na Jao Chhodkar. Those who recall that song will remember the lighter. And as young officers, we fancied ourselves like Devanand Saab, but we did not find the sadhanas of our life at that time, but that's another story. But over the years, over the decades, I think I was fortunate to know a little more about Sahir Saab because I did make the connection that the lyrics of that film, Hum Dono, were written by Sahir Saab. And then I was introduced to his other films. And here I must acknowledge the role played by my wife, who then, as a young girl, was also deeply interested in film era. And with her, I remember seeing many of the films of that period which had Sahir Saab. Particularly, I want to recall Pyasa. That is a film which resonated with our generation because of the deep humanism and the sensitivity with which the lyrics in Pyasa reflected both, I think, a certain hope, aspiration about an equitable social order, and of course the many pitfalls why it does not attain fruition. I don't want to go into the detail of the film, but Pyasa made me aware of this aspect of Sahir Saab. I don't speak Urdu, I don't read it, I have a working knowledge like any Indian Fauji. I try to understand Sahir Saab's work. And one particular film which made a deep impact on me, it was Dhool Ka Phool. And in that, there are a few lines, I'll try and read them, where this is a song being sung to a baby. Tu Hindu banega, na Musalman banega. Insan ki aulad hai, insan banega. That had a very, very deep impact on me. And as I grew up and I went into my own niche as a security analyst, I felt that this particular message or this particular song of Sahir Saab has a deep relevance for us in the current times. And given the kind of churning that is going on, not only in India, but across the subcontinent, in South Asia, my own reading, if I may put it that way, is that there is a relevance of Sahir Saab and his work that will remain. In many ways, I would say abiding. Perhaps time does not permit me to make a more detailed reference to some other aspects of him, which I'm sure others in this garland would elucidate. But clearly, when you look back, Sahir Saab was a distinctive, stand-alone poet who, in his magical manner, leavened his deep humanism with extraordinary lyricism. Truly a Jadugar, as signified in his name, Sahir.
I feel greatly privileged to be invited to express my views on one of the greatest poets of the 20th century, Sahir Ludhianvi. Sahir wrote primarily in Urdu, but a few times when he wrote in Hindi, the connoisseurs of poetry think that he was equally good in both. He excelled in the choice of words and the symbolism and the language he used. So that was the genius of Sahir. This is his centenary year. And in India, Pakistan, all over the world, people who have been inspired, and there are many generations who have been inspired by Sahir's progressive, humanist, secular poetry and his philosophy of an inclusive, wounded humanity, the wretched of the earth, who need to be rescued from oppression in different forms, in religious form, in economic forms, and in political terms. I will share with you 3 poems of his, which I think each are about a very important and crucial political event. The first one is partition. Now, a lot has been written about partition, and both in short story and novel and in poetry, there are outstanding contributions. But I think Sahir Ludhianvi's Mufamat, or Compromise, is a poem of a very different class altogether. Whereas most of his peers in the progressive writers movement and so on lamented that political independence had not led to the emancipation and liberation of the wretched of the earth, and that was a long way off. Sahir actually pointed out that the partition was a major setback to that process of emancipation. That instead of a shared humanity, it had objectified the tribalism and the divisiveness inherent in human societies. So this poem, Mufamat, which means compromise, it's written in a very sophisticated classical form of Urdu, which if I were to recite would be very difficult for, I think, general audiences to follow. So I'll just read the English translation. He writes, and this is about the compromise which brought about the partition. Compromise of those who decided to accept that if India is to be free, it will have to be in the form of a divided subcontinent. So what he writes is, finding the elements on earth agitated, in the skies black and white have joined hands. Two diametrically opposite tendencies. Those that were reminders of our quarrels, due to need of time, those collars have been mended. Jihad has ended and time of peace has come. and this is meant with a lot of sarcasm. The wild ones are now sitting in marriage palanquins, hidden from the eyes of those dying of thirst. Wine of lust's goblets are overflowing. This is not a celebration of joy, but a farce. In a new uniform has come the gang of robbers. And this is, I think, the main bottom line in the poem. After extinguishing 1,000 candles of love, have glowed bright now these chandeliers of separate houses. This seed of light which is born from darkness, if it sprouts, it will bring us flowers of fire. And if it fails to grow, then till the next cycle of crops, it will poison the conscience of this land. Anybody who is politically informed and knows what the partition was all about would say that Saher was prophetic in his understanding of the impact, the implications and ramifications of a partition which caused so much bloodshed and uprooted so many people. Then the interesting thing is that Saher Ludhianvi, or Abdul Hai, as his name was, he was living in Lahore in 1947. But in 1949, he was clear that he had no future in Jinnah's Pakistan, where he dreaded that the forces of reaction and conservative Islamic thinking would capture the state. And he fought refuge in Jawaharlal Nehru's secular, inclusive India. And that was a very wise choice, I think. Saher blossomed in India in a way which was impossible if he had stayed on in Pakistan. So Jawaharlal Nehru was a great inspiration to him as a political leader. On his death, he wrote an obituary, a poem as an obituary, and I can't think of a more appropriate way of paying tribute to Jawaharlal Nehru. I'll read once again the English translation. The death of the body is no death. With the dying body, men do not die. When the heart stops beating, wishes don't die. When breathing stops, declarations don't die. With the freezing of lips, mandates do not die. The death of the body is no death. He who rejected all religion from all faith was afar. Of all faith and all creed still, he stayed a sympathizer. Bearing the burden of the sins of all nations, with the mane of Christ he was crucified. Who braved the traumas of the partitions of men, still remained of men's brotherhood a firm believer. He whose eyes dreamt of a learned civilization, whose each breath was a new age builder. And then the poem continues. The third poem I have chosen for today is his understanding of the post-Nehru era, how populism was gaining ground and the forces of reaction were on the forward march. And this was the occasion of the 100th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, I think, and it was the 200th year celebrations of Mirza Ghalib, I think. So this is his poem, a lament to how the heritage of Gandhi and Ghalib was now being compromised. So this is what he writes. Be it Gandhi, be it Ghalib, the celebrations for both are at an end. Come, let's bury both of them. Let's stop talking civilization. Let's shut down all cultural noise. Truth, ahimsa are all nonsense. You are a murderer, I'm the robber. The celebrations for both are at an end. Come, let's bury both of them. What settlement, what village is that where the Harijan is free? What district, which city is it that will not an Ahmedabad be? I think Ahmedabad had it, one of its rounds of communalism, Hindu versus Muslim, and of course the Muslims were at the receiving end. The celebrations for both are at an end. Come, let's bury both of them. I think I will end here saying that we must learn from Sahir's humanist philosophy and try to bring it back into our lives. And I think it's time to bury the hatchet from the partition, heal the wounds inflicted at that time, and on both sides, I think responsible leaders must decide to live as good neighbors and build trust and serve the people. Thank you very much. I hope the Sahir Ludhianvi centenary is a new source of inspiration for people of an idealistic commitment who believe in a shared humanity and the need for us to work towards the emancipation of mankind from all forms of oppression.
तो इस मौके पर मैं चंद बातें कहूँगी आपसे कि साहिर ने बहुत कुछ लिखा है. जब भी साहिर का जिक्र आता है मैं इम्तिहान में मुब्तला हो जाती हूँ कि उस शायर का जिक्र करूँ कि जो फिल्मी दुनिया से वाबस्ता है या फिल्मी नगमे लिख रहा है, या उस शायर का जो तरक्की पसंद नज़रिए का हामिल है, या उस शायर का जो आशिकों की दिलों की धड़कन है और आशिक मिजाज भी कह सकते हैं. तो साहिर वर्सेटाइल पर्सनालिटी के मालिक हैं और साहिर ने औरतों के लिए बहुत लिखा. मैं इसी पर अपनी बात मरकूज़ रखूँगी कि साहिर ने औरतों पर हो रहे जुल्म सितम पर काफ़ी आवाज़ उठाई है. बुलंद बांग लहजे में वो कहते हैं, औरत ने जन्म दिया मर्दों को, मर्दों ने उसे बाजार दिया, जब जी चाहा मसला कुचला, जब जी चाहा धुतकार दिया, तुलती है कहीं दीनारों में, बिकती है कहीं बाजारों में, नंगी नुचवाई जाती है अय्याशों के दरबारों में. ये वो बेइज्जत चीज़ है जो बढ़ जाती है इज्जतदारों में. औरत ने जन्म दिया मर्दों को, मर्दों ने उसे बाजार दिया. साहिर का दरअसल उस समाज पर तंज है जो पेट्रियार्कल सिस्टम का समाज है हमारा, और ये आज से नहीं है, बरसों से ये समाज है. और साहिर का जो पस मंज़र है, यानी कि जो उनका बचपन का ज़माना गुजरा है, तो उसमें भी साहिर अपनी माँ की ज़िंदगी बहुत करीब से देख रहे थे, जिन्होंने बहुत कुल्फतें उठाकर साहिर की परवरिश की है. इसके अलावा उनका बचपन ननिहाल में गुजरा, तो वहाँ पे बाला खाने में रहते थे. हाफिज़ लुधियानवी उनके दोस्त हैं जिन्होंने इस बात का जिक्र किया है कि हाफिज़ बाला खाने पर रहते थे और सामने से वो घर नज़र आते थे उन्हें जहाँ पे कुछ औरतें रेलवे ट्रैक से कोयला चुनकर लेकर आती थी और उन्हें बाज़ारों में बेचती थी, और उनके कपड़े फटे होते थे और जिस्म पर स्याही लगी होती थी कोयले की. तो वो सब भी देख रहे थे साहिर के किस तरह से औरतें अपना पेट पाल रही हैं. तो उसी को साहिर ने अपने शायरी का मौजू बनाया और उसकी हिमायत की है और अपनी शायरी में औरतों को ख़ास मुकाम अता किया है. औरत के उन्वान से ही उनकी एक नज़्म है, लोग औरत को फ़कत जिस्म समझ लेते हैं, रूह भी होती है उसमें, ये कहाँ सोचते हैं. रूह क्या होती है उससे उन्हें मतलब ही नहीं, वो तो बस तन के तकाज़ों का कहाँ मानते हैं. कितनी सदियों से है कायम ये गुनाहों का रिवाज, लोग औरत की हर एक चीख को नगमा समझे, वो कबीलों का ज़माना हो के शहरों का समाज. इन अशार से भी हमें ये अंदाज़ा हो जाता है कि साहिर ने सभी जगह पर, मतलब औरत के जुल्म सितम पर, औरत के इस्तेहसाल पर, या औरत पर होने वाले सदियों से चले आ रहे जुल्म पर किस तरह से अपनी शायरी में आवाज़ उठाई है, किस तरह से अपनी शायरी में उसका जिक्र किया है या उसकी हिमायत की है और उसकी मजम्मत की है मर्द असास मुआशरे की। जैसे उनकी नज़्म है सुबह नौरोज़, उन्होंने उस नज़्म में सिर्फ औरत की ही नहीं और उस निचले और जो हमारे यहाँ जो तरक्की पसंद नज़रिया है, जैसे निचले और आला तबके में जो फ़र्क वाज़ेह किया है इस नज़्म में सुबह नौरोज़ में, उसके भी देखिए अशार कि उसमें किसान की बेटी जो है वो मुआशी मजबूरियों के तहत जो तवंगरों की हवस का शिकार हुई है, उसको किस तरह से साहिर ने बेबाक आवाज़ में कहा है कि निकली है बंगले के तर से एक मुफलिस दहकान की बेटी, अफसुर्दा मुरझाई हुई सी, जिस्म के दुखते जोड़ दबाती, आंचल से सीने को छुपाती, मुट्ठी में एक नोट दबाए, जश्न मनाओ साले नौ के। एक तरफ तो आला तबके के लोग हैं जो साले नौ जश्न मना रहे हैं साले नौ का, और एक तरफ वो लोग हैं जो निचले तबके के हैं और अपनी भूख को, अपने साल का पहला दिन ही भूख में गुजार रहे हैं। तो साहिर ने सिर्फ औरत की ज़िंदगी को ही निशाना नहीं बनाया है या मौजू नहीं बनाया है, दूसरे समाज की दूसरी जिंदा हकीकतों को भी उजागर किया है। तो साहिर का कलाम हमेशा ज़िंदा रहेगा और हम साहिर को याद करते रहेंगे और साहिर का कलाम को हम भुला नहीं सकते जिस तरह, और उसका साहिर का जो कलाम है वो आज भी रेलेवेंट है। जिस तरह आयशा ने अभी साबरमती नदी में अपनी जान दी थी, तो ये भी एक तरह से जुल्म है कि उसे डॉलर सिस्टम के लिए टॉर्चर किया जा रहा था। तो ये सब चीज़ें साहिर से वाबस्ता हैं, तो आज भी साहिर के कलाम की वही अहमियत है जो पहले थी। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
We've all heard the lovely lilting melodies with the lyrics of which were written by Sahir Ludhianvi. मैं ज़िंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया from हम दोनों, और ये रातें ये मौसम नदी का किनारा. But there is a side to Sahir Ludhianvi which is very sad and dark, and it is because his father was a typical idle, lecherous landlord who exploited thoroughly farm workers and farmers. And even today, especially today, the poetry that he wrote in those days is very relevant. I'll read the English translation of one of his poems called Jagir, which was about the farm workers. Their toil is mine, and the fruit of their labor is mine too. Their arms are mine, and so too the produce of these arms. I am the lord of this inheritance without any question. Sahir Ludhianvi was deeply inspired by Faiz Ahmad Faiz, and both poets, as you will notice, used romantic symbolism to express social protest. Also, Sahir's poetry is progressive, influenced by Marxist ideology. He became well known through the lyrics which he wrote for Hindi films, which were in themselves progressive. There was a movie called Phir Subah Hogi, for which he wrote the song Wo Subah Kabhi To Aayegi. Sahir Ludhianvi's socially conscious poetry was well matched and fit in well with the socially conscious cinema of Guru Dutt, for example. His poem in Pyasa, his poem Kuche, is an iconic poem, and in the same movie there was the song written, the lyrics of which were written by him. It's called Ye Duniya Agar Mil Bhi Jaye To Kya Hai. So I will read you a translation of Ye Kuche, where he exhorts the leaders of the country to come and take a look at these streets of brothels. You may just invite the country's leading lights to show them these alleys, these lanes and streets for sights, who eulogize the Eastern values to their lofty heights. Where are the eulogists of Eastern values of sanctity? This translation was done by Khwaja Tariq Mahmood. In Urdu it is, ज़रा मुल्क के रहबरों को बुलाओ, ये गलियां ये कूचे ये मंजर दिखाओ, सना ख्वाने तकदीस मशरिक को लाओ, सना ख्वाने तकदीस मशरिक कहाँ है? Then, as I said, there's a famous song from the same movie, Pyasa, ये दुनिया अगर मिल भी जाए तो क्या है? Though it's a bit depressing, but it expresses his compassion for the downtrodden and his critique of society as it was, and perhaps as it is today also. Sahir Ludhianvi said his poetry was a result of his own experiences and whatever life gave him. दुनिया ने तजुर्बात व हवादिस की शक्ल में जो कुछ मुझे दिया है लौटा रहा हूँ मैं. Almost near the end of his life, he wrote a poem called Alvida or Goodbye, at the end of which the last verse is, ये राह अकेली कटती चले, यहाँ साथ न कोई यार चले, उस पार न जाने क्या पाए, उस पार तो सब कुछ हार चले. वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी इन काली सदियों के सर से, जब रात का आंचल ढलकेगा, जब दुख के बादल पिघलेंगे, जब सुख का सागर छलकेगा, जब अंबर झूम के नाचेगा, जब धरती नगमे गाएगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी. And he goes on to say then in the end, वो सुबह हमी से आएगी. संसार के सारे मेहनत कश खेतों से मिलों से निकलेंगे, बेघर बेदर बेबस इंसान तारीक बिलों से निकलेंगे, दुनिया अमन और खुशहाली के फूलों से सजाई जाएगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी.
Lahorias are known for great bravado, and therefore, as a part-time poet, a great fan, a great admirer of the late Abdul Hai, popularly known as Sahir Ludhianvi, he became a great contradictory personality, moved from India to Lahore after partition, and then moved back to Ludhiana because of his rather non-conformist views, which did not find favor with the ruling establishment in Pakistan at that time. You might recall that the great Faiz Ahmed Faiz too held some fairly similar views. I heard his response to a question asked of him by somebody in Bollywood. He was asked, I'm told, what will you charge for the lyrics for a particular film? His answer, as I learn it, sums up Sahir Ludhianvi's personality and gives you an inkling into his philosophy of life, his thinking, and for what people refer to as his non-conformist views. His answer, as I learn it, was, give me 1 rupee more than what you pay Lata Mangeshkar ji. If this indeed was a fact, then the battle of musical composition versus lyrics is well known the world over, and not confined to just the Urdu language. I think Bollywood must get great credit, as they would probably be singularly responsible in getting Sahir to the masses. In order to pay our respects and to honor this great poet of Urdu, we should all attempt to do our bit and endeavor to get his ghazals and nazms to reach every corner of the places where Urdu, Hindi, Hindustani is spoken. His name, Sahir, which he chose, means a sorcerer, a magician in Urdu. Was his poetry magical? Or was it plain magic? The image of the sorcerer should live in every heart. I said I was a part-time poet. I was born in Lahore, there for 15 years of my life, and Urdu and Farsi were the language. So, a few words from me in Urdu, my tribute to Sahir Ludhianvi. फुसूगर था साहिर ये बात ज़रूर दोहरा ही जाए फुसूगर था साहिर ये बात ज़रूर दोहरा ही जाए हर गज़ल उसकी मंज़र आम तक पहुँचाई जाए हर गज़ल उसकी मंज़र आम तक पहुँचाई जाए जादूगरी थी या शायरी ये तो दाना ही जाने. Let the wise decide on whether it was magic or poetry, or magical poetry. Shabi hai wo aisi, that image, the image of Sahir. Shabi hai wo aisi, har dil mein samai jaye. Let that image of Sahir reside in every heart.
Lifelong Sahir fan and follower Venkat Parsa, in his thought-provoking eulogy, his ode, his requiem, reveals that he knows his beans about Sahir, the hugely gifted poet who, ironically, knew so little about true love. Well, almost. Perhaps it wasn't the writer's mandate to write about how insecure Sahir was, not of his talent, about which he was justifiably arrogant and sure, but he was insecure about his physical appeal, his looks, his chechak or smallpox that marred his face in his perception, his impact on those who were close to him. Were they patronizing those that cared? Their earnestness was surreal, or so he thought. He denied them closeness and proximity and agonized over his many insecurities. This included Amrita, who remained smitten for life, unfulfilled, unrequited, making do with hand-me-downs, including sucking on his discarded cigarette stubs, to be somehow one with him in however fleeting and awkward a manner. This extraordinary winner, a wordsmith like few others, was, in fact, in his own estimation, a loser. So sad he remained, so troubled, even when he wrote peerless poetry. He was, as he often reminded those who were lucky to have him write for them, not a lyricist, writing for a petty consideration. He was nothing short of being a poet, a poet of substance, demanding respect and reflection for his thoughts and his method of putting them down.
Sahir is somebody who is dear to all of us, and the moment he mentioned about Sahir, I immediately thought about the movie Pyasa, and then we talked about Pyasa for a minute. And I remember I was quite young at that time, not very young, around 20, 21, when I first saw this movie with my friends. And the movie was so powerful. What stayed with me particularly was the music. And that music was not simply songs, it was music of life, music about life. And this was music which articulated our own, in some sense of being at that time. And the two songs which kind of I still remember very clearly, we used to sing along with other classmates and people we were living together in hostels. These two songs, Wo Subha Kabhi To Aayegi, that was song of hope and song of at some level working together for a better society. And then also the anger and our own kind of sense of marginality in those times, and that was articulated in another song, Jine Naaz Hai Hind Par Wo Kahan Hai. And these two songs were, as I just said, they were representative of those times, but they're also representative of our times at some level, though they're representative of societies in modern times, the kind of inequalities that we live in, and the kind of nationalism that at some level feels very proud of those countries and nations. And at some level, these songs question their sense of complacence about those societies and point towards the existing miseries and inequalities that continue to persist when we feel very proud of our country. And I think that is a sentiment which was very well articulated through these songs. And at the same time, it is not like you develop indifference towards those realities, but you also are invited to participate in building a different kind of nation, building a different kind of society where there would not be inequality, where there would not be so much misery, there would not be so much injustice and kind of exclusions and marginalities of some kind of people, and where there would be some kind of equality and working together. So at some level, Sahir is not simply a poet, he is also someone who at some level represents our times, 20th century, 21st century, when the world has changed. We have all become different kind of societies where we have become citizens, and this citizenship is not realized in practice, that we have the promise of being equal, the promise of being people of this country or people of this world as equal, but still there's so much left to be done. And I think Sahir Ludhianvi is as relevant, as at some level sensitive and articulate to the prevailing situation as he was during his times. I think today also, if young people, and I'm sure they already listen to him and they already kind of recite these songs to articulate their own voice, it would be as relevant as they were 50 or 60 years back or 40 years back. And I think that is where the greatness of great music and art lies.
वो एक जागीरदार घराने में पैदा हुए थे। बाप उनके कई शादियां की उन्होंने, और साहिर की वालदा के साथ, साहिर के साथ कभी अच्छा सलूक नहीं किया उन्होंने। तो साहिर के अंदर शुरू से ही जागीरदारी निज़ाम के खिलाफ और वो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम ब्रिटिशर्स का जो उनको एनकरेज करता था, प्रोटेक्ट करता था, उसके खिलाफ नफरत पैदा हुई और इसी तरह की शायरी करते रहे। फिर वो लुधियाना कॉलेज से निकाले गए अपनी पॉलिटिक्स की वजह से, फिर लाहौर के कॉलेज से रस्टिकेट हुए अपनी सियासी शायरी की वजह से, अपनी तरक्की पसंद शायरी की वजह से, और फिर वो दिल्ली होते हुए सन 47 के पार्टीशन में सफ़र करने के बाद बॉम्बे जाके सेटल हुए, जहां प्रोग्रेसिव मूवमेंट उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया। उससे पहले 1943 में उनका जो पोएटिक कलेक्शन था तलखियाँ, जो हिंदी में, उर्दू में, हिंदुस्तान में, पाकिस्तान में और कहाँ कहाँ फेक, ऑथोराइज्ड, अनऑथोराइज्ड इतना छपा है, इतने बार छपा है कि शायद दीवाने गालिब के बाद जो दूसरी सबसे पॉपुलर किताब उर्दू की है वह है तलखियाँ, और उसकी एक नज़्म है ख़ासतौर पे ताजमहल। ताजमहल के बारे में हमारे शायरों का, उर्दू शायरों का रवैया बड़ा रोमांटिक रहा है, लेकिन शायर ने उसको, साहिर ने तरक्की पसंदी के एंगल से देखा और ये कहा कि भाई ये जो है पब्लिक मनी का वेस्टेज है, और एक शहनशाह ने दौलत का सहारा लेकर हम गरीबों की मोहब्बत का उड़ाया है मजाक, और मेरी महबूब कहीं और मिला कर मुझसे। कहते ताजमहल के पास मत मिला कर मुझसे, ताजमहल मुझे एक एक्सप्लॉयटेशन की और जो दौलत का जो अनइवन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है उसकी पहचान दिखाई देता है। उसके बाद साहिर बम्बई गए, तो बम्बई में शुरू में स्ट्रगल किया, फिर वो SD बर्मन के साथ अटैच हो गए, और ये रात ये चांदनी फिर कहाँ, और फिर प्यासा फिल्म वगैरह जो 57 में रिलीज हुई, उससे इस्टेब्लिश हो गए वो। और फिर उन्होंने वहां जाकर बहुत सी जो उल्टी प्रैक्टिसेस थी उनको सीधा किया। जैसे फिल्मों में, फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में म्यूजिक पहले कंपोज होता था, पोएट्री बाद में लिखी जाती थी, गीत बाद में लिखे जाते। साहिर ने कहा कि नहीं, ये एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है मुझे, मैं शायरी पहले करूंगा और म्यूजिक उसके बाद आएगा, म्यूजिक मेरे लिए सेकेंडरी है। इसी तरह रेडियो पर जो फिल्मी नगमे सुनाए जाते थे उसमें शायर का नाम लिया जाता था, तो शायर ने उसको भी गवर्नमेंट पर प्रेशर डालकर, साहिर लुधियानवी ने उसको भी ठीक कराया, फिल्म राइटर्स एसोसिएशन के सदर रहे। और फिर उन्होंने दोनों तरह के गीत लिखे, प्रोग्रेसिव गीत भी लिखे उन्होंने, जैसे वो ये सुबह कभी तो आएगी, मांग के साथ तुम्हारा, मैंने मांग लिया संसार, जागेगा इंसान जमाना देखेगा, वगैरह वगैरह। और जो कहना चाहिए कि रोमांटिक पोएट्री, जैसे नीले गगन के तले, ये दिल तुम बिन कहीं लगता नहीं, हम क्या करें, हर तरह की शायरी वो करते रहे। और कभी कभी उन्होंने कॉमेडी गीत भी लिखे, जैसे कह गए फादे इब्राहिम, या प्यासा का गाना है वो जॉनी वॉकर वाला, चंपी वाला जो गाना है, सर जो तेरा चकराए तो आजा प्यारे पास हमारे, वगैरह वगैरह। लेकिन साहिर की खास बात यह है कि साहिर ने अपना जो प्रोग्रेसिव उनकी पॉलिटिक्स थी उसको हमेशा बरकरार रखा। और आज के दौर में साहिर का रेलेवेंस ये है कि जो इंटर कम्युनल भाईचारा है उसको साहिर हमेशा साथ रखते हैं। जैसे एक गीत उनका बहुत मशहूर हुआ कि तू हिंदू बनेगा ना मुसलमान बनेगा, इंसान की औलाद है इंसान बनेगा। तो साहिर ने ये देखा कि मजहब जो है उसको लोग एक्सप्लॉइट कर रहे हैं आपस में झगड़ा फिसाद फैलाने के लिए, और साहिर की शायरी में वो एक सेकुलर रवैया उभरता है। दूसरा, वीमेन के बारे में, औरतों के बारे में, चूंकि उनकी माँ ने बहुत सफर किया था, उन्होंने देखा कि औरतों के बारे में उनका रवैया बहुत पॉजिटिव था, और चकले और दूसरी नज़में जो है तमाम तरह की वो लिखी उन्होंने। फिर तीसरा जो एंगल है उनका एंटी वॉर, वो कहते हैं कि इसलिए है शरीफ इंसानों जंग टलती रहे तो बेहतर है, वॉर के खिलाफ है वो। और परछाइयाँ जैसी एंटी वॉर नज्म लिखी उन्होंने, जो बहुत लंबी नज्म है, और उर्दू में और मेरे ख्याल में दूसरी जबानों में भी शायद इतनी बड़ी नज्में नहीं लिखी गई। तो आज शायर का कंट्रीब्यूशन ये है कि वो अमन के लिए, औरतों की अपलिफ्टमेंट के लिए और एक सेकुलर माहौल कायम करने के लिए उनकी शायरी आज भी हमारे लिए इतनी रेलेवेंट है। और वो शायरी जो है म्यूजिक से और नगमगी से आरास्ता है, ऐसी नहीं कि वो खुरदरी या नारेबाजी की शायरी है, बल्कि साहिर सारी चीज़ों को और जो पोएटिक उनका टैलेंट है उसको साथ लेके चलते हैं। तो आज साहिर की रेलेवेंस बहुत ज़्यादा है, और हम लोगों को साहिर को दोबारा पढ़ने की और रीडिस्कवर करने की ज़रूरत है। शुक्रिया।
साहिर लुधियानवी, एक लिरिसिस्ट के हवाले से, गीतकार के हवाले से साहिर पर बात करना जितना कठिन है उतना ही दिलचस्प भी। कठिन इसलिए कि साहिर को आप किसी एक खांचे में नहीं ढाल सकते, ना बांध सकते हैं। उनका कैनवस इतना बड़ा है कि उसको कुछ मिनटों और कुछ घंटों की किसी बहस में समा पाना, उनके पूरे कैनवस के बारे में बात कर पाना बहुत ही मुश्किल काम है। दिलचस्प इसलिए कि एक गीतकार की तरह मैं आज अगर कुछ लिख रहा हूँ तो मुझे ये पता चलता है कि साहिर कितने अलग तरीके से कोई बात कहते थे, और बहुत ही एक मुख्तलिफ रंग था उनके कहने का। चाहे वो मतलब आप 50 लोगों के बीच में आप बहुत आसानी से पहचान सकते हैं कि क्या साहिर की राइटिंग है। और मुझे लगता है कि उसमें जो बात सबसे बहुत ख़ास बात मुझे लगती है वो ये है कि साहिर पूरे हिंदुस्तान के एक नुमाइंदे गीतकार, उनकी नुमाइंदगी करते थे वो। और वो सिर्फ एक ज़बान की बात नहीं है कि हिंदुस्तानी, उर्दू, हिंदी, जो एक कोर है साहिर के गीतों में, वो इतना हिंदुस्तानी है कि आप उसको मतलब बाकी लोगों के मुकाबले वो बहुत एकदम खिल के सामने आता है। कैसे उनकी जो मोहब्बत वाली नज़में हैं उसमें कैसे उस वक्त के हालात के बारे में ज़िक्र होता है, या किस तरीके से वो बहुत डीप रूटेड इंडियन फ़िलॉसफ़ी को अपने गीतों में लेकर के आते हैं। अब देखिए, जैसे कि चित्रलेखा का वो गीत शायद याद हो आपको, संसार से भागे फिरते हो, भगवान को क्या तुम पाओगे, इस लोक को तुम अपना न सके, उस लोक में भी पछताओगे। और वो चरवाक का भौतिकवादी दर्शन जो है कि ये भोग भी एक तपस्या है, तुम त्याग के मारे क्या जानो, अपमान रचयिता का होगा, रचना को अगर ठुकराओगे, संसार से भागे फिरते हो, भगवान को क्या तुम पाओगे। देखिए किस हद तक जाकर वो पैरवी कर रहे हैं, वकालत कर रहे हैं इस भोगवादी दर्शन का, और जो कि बिल्कुल एक हिंदुस्तानी मतलब एक धारा है सोचने की। वहीं पे दूसरी तरफ वो कहते हैं कि उतना ही उपकार समझ ले जितना साथ निभा दे, जन्म मरण का मेल है सपना, ये सपना बिसरा दे, कोई न संग मरे, मन रे तू काहे न धीर धरे। ये जो एक या वो गाना अगर आपको याद हो कि गम और खुशी में फ़र्क ना महसूस हो जहां, मैं दिल को उस मकाम पे लाता चला गया, मैं ज़िंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया। ये जो एक बात है, ये जो एक फ़लसफ़ा है जो कि बहुत हद तक पर्सनली मुझे बहुत एक ज़ेन क्वालिटी लगती है। एक बेचैनी है, पर वो बेचैनी जो है वो खुद को तलाशने की बेचैनी है। उनके यहाँ शायद ही कोई ऐसी लाइन हो जो कि बहुत ही कैजुअल हो, मुझे नहीं दिखती चीज़ें। जहाँ भी कोई पंक्ति आती है उसमें मतलब ज़िंदगी धड़कती है यहाँ की। अब देखिए कैसे है कि वो गीत शायद आपको याद हो, न तो कारवां की तलाश है, न तो हम सफ़र की तलाश है। उसमें शुरुआत में ये इश्क इश्क है, इश्क इश्क, ये इश्क इश्क है, इश्क इश्क, ये सारी बातें हो रही है। और वो कहाँ पहुँचते हैं? वो कहते हैं कि इश्क आज़ाद है, हिंदू न मुसलमान है इश्क, आप ही धर्म है और आप ही ईमान है इश्क, जिससे आगाह नहीं शेख व ब्राह्मण दोनों, उस हकीकत का गरजता हुआ ऐलान है इश्क। इश्क न पूछे दीन धर्म, इश्क न पूछे जाता। अब ये मोहब्बत, और आज के समय में जिस तरह की दुनिया में हम जी रहे हैं, जहाँ पे अब भी मोहब्बत पे इतनी दीवारें हैं, अब इतना हर तरफ से बंदिशें हैं मोहब्बत पर, आप समझ सकते हैं कि ये लाइंस, ये पंक्तियाँ जो हैं आज के वक्त में कहीं ज़्यादा मानीखेज है ये पंक्तियाँ। और हमें पर्सनली बहुत ज़रूरी है साहिर को अपनी ज़िंदगी में मैं एक बात बोलना चाहता हूँ कि कई बार हर आम आदमी, एक कामकाजी, कारखाने में काम करने वाला आदमी, खेतों में काम करने वाला आदमी, घरों में काम करने वाले लोग, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो, और ख़ास करके अगर अपने सब कॉन्टिनेंट की बात करें तो शायद सबको वो सहूलत नहीं है हासिल कि वो किसी किताब में जा कर के, किसी स्कूल में या किसी मार्गदर्शक के पास जाएं। और वो ऐसे में मुझे लगता है कि एक गीतकार जो है वो अगर साहिर जैसा हो तो देखिए कितनी आसान ज़बान में कितनी फ़लसफ़ाना बातें वो कह जाते हैं। आज हम लोग परेशान होते रहते हैं, ख़ास करके ब्रेकअप और रिश्ते टूटने के बारे में, और कई बार चीज़ें बहुत अगली हो जाती हैं। और किस खूबसूरती से और कब साहिर ने कहा कि चलो एक बार फिर से अजनबी बन जाएं हम दोनों। वो अफसाना जिसे अंजाम तक लाना न हो मुमकिन, उसे खूबसूरत मोड़ देकर छोड़ना अच्छा। मतलब कितनी खूबसूरत बात है। मुझे लगता है कि कोई शायर, लेखक, आर्टिस्ट वो तब बड़ा होता है जबकि वो अपने वक्त की सरहद से आगे और पीछे आने वाली नस्लों से बात करे। और मुझे लगता है कि साहिर इस सेंस में बहुत बहुत अलग हैं, बहुत वो हमेशा ही मतलब वो रेलेवेंट रहेंगे इस तरीके से। बाकी उनके बहुत सारे, और एक बात साहिर के बारे में, एक बहुत आम फहम ये बात है कि लोगों को लगता है कि वो बहुत कठिन उर्दू में लिखते थे। और आप देखिए, आप सर्च कीजिए, गाने सुनिए उनके, कुछ इतने प्यारे भजन उन्होंने लिखे हैं। और उस भजन की ज़बान क्या है? वो अवधी है। उसमें अवधी और पूर्वी का मिला जुला रूप है। तो ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम, मतलब मुझे लगता है कि मैं इसलिए बोलता हूँ कि साहिर जो है वो ख़ुद अपने आप में एक हिंदुस्तान है। और बहुत कम लोगों को शायद ये पता हो कि साहिर पाकिस्तान चले गए थे और बाद में ख्वाजा अहमद अब्बास, शायद मुझे जहाँ तक याद है, उन्होंने एक चिट्ठी लिखी थी उनको कि यार तुम्हारा नाम तो वही रहने वाला है, लुधियानवी, तो तुम पाकिस्तान जाके भी पाकिस्तानी नहीं हो पाओगे, आ जाओ। और वो वापस यहाँ आ गए। और फिर आप जानते हैं कि किस तरीके से चीज़ें हुई। पर्सनली मुझे लगता है कि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा मुतासिर हूँ उनके लिखने से। और मैं एज अ लिरिसिस्ट मैं कभी सोचता हूँ कि कभी उनके खुरचन बराबर कुछ लिख पाऊँ तो मुझे लगेगा कि मैं शायद कुछ ठीक कर पाया।
Hello everyone. Today is Women's Day, and as we celebrate women, we must also remember a very, very important figure of South Asia, a poet and lyricist whose magical words and ideas have led to a huge fan following all over this part of the world. Sahir Ludhianvi was a revered Urdu poet, a member of the Progressive Writers Association, but also an outstanding film lyricist, a true wizard with words. He was a humanist poet who spoke for the downtrodden, the underprivileged, and for women. But I know him not as an Urdu poet, but as a film lyricist, one who has written songs of very different kinds and genres, from the lyrically resonant love songs to those critical of the society that we created after independence. his body of work is huge, and it is impossible to actually respond to all of it here. I just want to focus on the songs of 3 films: Pyasa, Dharmputra, and Barsat Ki Raat. Pyasa actually is an outstanding film, of course, we know that, and it is in many ways a film in which resonates with the vision of Sahir. There are also indications that the central figure of Vijay, the protagonist played by Guru Dutt, is a take on Sahir's own life, and it's very interesting that the volume of poems that is published in the film and brings Vijay fame is called Parchaiyan, a volume that Sahir actually published as well. Similarly, at the beginning of the film, there is a set of poems that are discarded by a publisher, and it's probably a reference to Talkhiyan or bitterness, a volume that was published by Sahir in 1945. So it's interesting. There are several resonances, and people have talked about his iconic song "Ye Dunya Agar Mil Bhi Jaye To Kya Hai," and the way in which it ends: "Jala do ise, phuk dalo ye dunya, mere samne se hata lo ye dunya, tumhari hai tum hi sambhalo ye dunya agar mil bhi jaye to kya hai." This is a resounding critique of the society, of money economy, of capitalism, of a world in which humanity has no value, human feelings have no value, a society in which money is predominant, and in which love is only a game to be played for wealth and for achieving comfort. This is a vision which is also embodied in the sequence in which the protagonist Vijay calls out to those who are proud of India and asks them to witness the terrible conditions of the women. Jinhe naaz hai hind pe kahan hai. It's interesting that the theme of capitalism, of the money economy, and of the degradation of women is actually knitted together in the portrayal of the 2 women in the film, Meena and Gulabo. Gulabo, the prostitute, and Meena, the one that Vijay was in love with, but who compromised herself, her love for comfort. And in many ways, the song "Aaj Sajan Mohe Ang Laga Lo," which is sung by a Bairagan and filmed on the prostitute, is a song that embodies the essence of the film. That it is the love that is sacred, and one that will not be compromised for wealth. So in many ways, Pyasa represents the vision of Sahir himself, even. And so Guru Dutt and Sahir actually seem to have created this film together. I want to move to another film, Dharmputra, and the Dargah Qawwali called Kaabe Mein Raho Ya Kashi Mein, which occurs at a critical moment of the narrative when the meaning of love and faith and identity are being questioned. The sequence which concludes with this Qawwali traverses the sacred geography of Islam, and yet the images create a spiritual space that is not the preserve of just one community, but rather is a space that provides solace to all those with faith who seek divine grace. That there is a strong and important cross-faith address here to the nation at large is clear from the lyrics of Sahir's Qawwali, that is the finale of this sequence. Kaabe mein raho ya Kashi mein, nisbat usi ki zaat hai. से है. While the words of the Qawwali are crucial, the image track is equally evocative. The picture of a Qawwal and Pandit sitting together against a background of a mosque and temple, singing of the value of faith in whichever God one believes in, for every house is his abode, creates the emotional textures of what it means to live in a multi-faith plural culture that is rooted in respect for different spiritual traditions. It is the value of spiritual experience itself, and not the different names by which we call the divine being, that is celebrated in this powerful Qawwali that articulates the belief that whether one visits a mosque or a temple, it is the divine being who one worships, and therefore we may believe in what we will, for ultimately the goal is to touch the heart with faith. Sahir says, ये मस्जिद है वो बुत खाना, चाहे ये मानो चाहे वो मानो, मकसद तो है दिल को समझाना. And it is very clear that wishes are fulfilled in Kaaba or in Kashi, and that the gift of love may be found in any place of faith. This sequence celebrates the plurality of spiritual traditions and respect for every religion, which was an essential aspect of the nationalist movement. In a diverse country with multiple faiths and communities, it was extremely important for the leaders of the independence movement to imagine the democratic character of the new nation to be founded on an acceptance and respect for India's multicultural and multi-religious communities and their belief systems. And it is this idea that Sahir's powerful Qawwali articulates. The film that is Dharmputra, directed by Yash Chopra and made in 1961, also has another very powerful song that Sahir actually wrote, and which Yash Chopra uses at a very, very critical moment. The film is about partition. It looks back at the difficult and traumatic period between 1925 and 1947, a historical phase in which the social body was torn apart by violent and fatal sectarian conflicts. The film attempted to give voice to the mass hysteria of the times and the tearing of identities and emotions involved. In the partition sequence, images of rioting, looting, burning, killing are accompanied by a commentary that underlines the horror and incomprehensibility of human experiences of the time. While the images of large-scale destruction, the anger of nature, the mass migrations of the partition, the local scenes of burning, looting, killing follow each other, on the soundtrack, Sahir's song and its lyrics are a powerful exhortation to human conscience and demands answers of histories that are impossible to find. ये किसका लहू है कौन मरा, ए रहबर मुल्क को कौन बता, ये किसका लहू है कौन मरा. But it is not just the poet who asks difficult questions. He says that the smouldering and burning heart of the earth, those who are rejected by the nation, the rivers of blood, every street corner and the seashores all demand an answer to the critical question as to how can one distinguish the blood of the dead. At this moment, the personal has suddenly and radically expanded into the historical, and subjective emotion that melodrama privileges is figured as historical affect. As the song proceeds, intermeshing the images of partition violence and the burning and shamed nation, the tormented protagonist who holds his exclusivist majoritarian ideology responsible for the insanity of the times, the lyrics rise to a crescendo, questioning what honor and value can possibly lie in the killings and rapes committed in the names of the two gods, Ram and Allah. जिस राम के नाम पे खून बहे उस राम की इज्जत क्या होगी, जिस दीन के हाथों लाज लुटे उस दीन की कीमत क्या होगी, इंसान की इस जिल्लत से परे शैतान की जिल्लत क्या होगी, ये वेद हटा कुरान उठा, रहबर मुल्क को कौन बता, ये किसका लहू है कौन मरा. The conclusion seems unavoidable to reject the holy books, the Vedas and the Quran, of both the Hindus and the Muslims, for religion has brought nothing but dehumanized violence, devastation and dishonor to humankind. Sahir's anguished questioning comprises the central moral vision with which what would otherwise amount to what Alok Rai has called the pornography of violence is critically positioned. In the last part of my comment, I'd like to talk about Barsat Ki Raat, which has iconic songs, especially the romantic and lyrical title song, which in its second version, sung by Lata Mangeshkar, articulates the pain that the betrayal of the dream of love can bring about. It is equally lyrical as the first version and ends, of course, with a reaffirmation of love. However, the song that I want to talk about is another iconic Qawwali, Ya Na To Karwan Ki Talash Hai, the Qawwali with which Barsat Ki Raat ends. ना तो कारवां की तलाश है, ना तो हम सफ़र की तलाश है, मेरे शौक़ खाने खराब को तेरी राह गुज़र की तलाश है. This Qawwali is the climactic denouement of the film set in contemporary Nehruvian India. While drawing on the poetical and musical aesthetics of the Muslim social genre, Barsat Ki Raat imagines a transformed future of gender relations and community identities. Sung as a competition between two sets of Qawwals, the protagonist Aman comes to the aid of the female Qawwals at a critical moment with the celebration of love that the opponent had begun. Ishq is the force that cannot be controlled by the destructive powers of the heart, the world, the gallows, or daggers and spears. It is the voice of Majnu that Layla followed, and no one could stop her, for it is Ishq, Ishq, Ishq. Furthermore, Ishq azad hai, Hindu na Musalman hai Ishq. It transcends all barriers, whether that of class, caste or religion, for Ishq is a religion by itself. Aap hi dharm hai aur aap hi iman hai Ishq. Here Aman is citing the Sufi poets Bulle Shah and Ghulam Farid, and goes on to cite Kabir and Bulle Shah again when he says that this truth, neither understood by the Sheikh or the Brahmin, is what it roaringly announces. Aman's virtuoso performance here inspires Shabab, one of the female Qawwals, and she sings a verse in Punjabi about how Ishq does not countenance differences in identities, and then picks up a line from her opponent and nods in a verse from another Sufi poet, Amir Khusro, when she sings his well-known composition in Braj Bhasha, बहुत कठिन है डगर पंड खटकी. Sahir's lyrics here, while citing Sufi stalwarts like Bulle Shah, Ghulam Farid, Sultan Bhau, Waris Shah and Kabir, clearly establish him as the Qawwal par excellence, one who in his improvisation and tying in of the knots in the composition, the gireh, can mobilize an entire affective and philosophical Sufi and Bhakti cosmos. The narrative situation is climactic in a double sense. Not only will the Qawwali bring to a resolution the central triangular love relationship between the poet Aman, his beloved Shabnam and Shama, it will also bring about a transformation of a traditional worldview in the hallowed space of Ajmer Sharif, the most venerated of the Sufi shrines of the Chashtiya order. Using imagery from the Krishna and Sita traditions as well as the Islamicate Layla and Majnu and Sufi traditions, the Qawwali announces triumphantly the liberation of love from all constraints in an amazing tour de force of poetry, music and performance that celebrates plural cultural and spiritual traditions. Shabnam, the beloved, is Radha, Sita and Meera together, while Aman also asserts the teachings of Allah and the Quran, Buddha and Christ, that love, about love, and that Ishq is the everlasting and victorious, that it turns clay into idols and idols into gods, and finally the pinnacle of love is that it can turn a human being into a revered and loved God. The assertion of the miraculous power of Ishq in these heightened verses can only be followed by the ecstatic refrain of Ye Ishq, Ishq hai, Ishq, Ishq, Ye Ishq, Ishq hai, Ishq, Ishq, in which the entire audience joins in, marking the culmination of the Qawwali and the win for Aman and his group. The conclusion of the sequence is the resolution of the narrative, which takes place to the strains of Zindagi Bhar Nahi Bhulegi Wo Barsat Ki Raat. At an imaginary level, what is at stake in this example is also the value of the world that the Qawwali evokes. It is appropriate then that this Qawwali celebrates the essence of Sufi doctrine, the value of Ishq itself, and the assertion of love takes place now, envisioned as imbued with Sufi and Bhakti imaginaries of immersion and submission of the self to the beloved. The location of the Ajmer Sharif Dargah also inspires a plural sense of religion and of love that transcends all barriers. It is thus at the Sufi Dargah at Ajmer Sharif, under the sign of that tradition which is truly modern, in that it liberates the self from the shackles of religion, caste, class and prejudice, that a modern selfhood is wrought and a new sense of a secular community is envisioned. Thus, in its celebration of the Sufi Qawwali, the film also articulates a distinctive vision of Indian modernity within which plural spiritual traditions are celebrated, even as a liberated sense of the self is articulated. These are the values that Sahir embodied, and it is these values that are deeply endangered today. Hence, it is that Sahir's vision is urgently needed now, and we hope with him and with Tagore that there will be a new dawn, wo subah kabhi to aayegi, one in which the mind is without fear and the head is held high. And with Tagore and Sahir, we can only hope that into that heaven of freedom our country awakens.
Na jao chhod kar ke dil abhi bhara nahi, abhi na jao छोड़ कर के दिल अभी भरा नहीं, सितारे झिलमिला उठे, चराग जगमगा उठे, बस अब न मुझको टोकना, न बढ़ के राह रोकना। अगर मैं रुक गई अभी तो जा न पाऊंगी कभी, यही कहोगे तुम सदा कि दिल अभी नहीं भरा, जो ख़त्म हो किसी जगह ये ऐसा सिलसिला नहीं, अभी नहीं, अभी नहीं, नहीं 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 नहीं, अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर कि दिल अभी भरा नहीं, अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर कि दिल अभी भरा नहीं।